Let's create a video marketing strategy that actually drives leads and sales for your business. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful videos and resources we'll be referencing as we go through this strategy. Now, before we dive into keyword research, the specific types of videos to make, and of course, how to structure them and create calls to action that actually drive the action that you're looking for, let's go ahead and walk through what the entire strategy looks like. And of course, the strategy starts with creating some content. And there are three specific types of videos that you should be making when it comes to creating videos specifically to drive leads and sales, or eventually drive leads and sales. This can be really complicated, but we're going to break it down as if you're only making anywhere from 10 to 15 videos total. So the first type of content you might be making will be a how-to tutorial. The second type would be a decision guide. And number three would be a review. Now we'll go through each one of these in more detail and some examples in a later section. Then in each side of one of those, you're going to have a specific call to action. Now, there are lots of different types of calls to action, so we'll get to that in the second to last section. But just remember that when you create a video, you want to think ahead of time, what step in your sales funnel or sales process do you want someone to take after watching the video? So we'll go through a couple of examples. Now, as a quick little bonus here, you can actually use YouTube ads remarketing as a way to supercharge this process and accelerate the time it takes to start to see results, because ranking videos can take quite a while. And while you don't have to do remarketing, it is something that you can easily layer on top of the strategy to accelerate the results that you get. We'll go through that in the last section. And then finally, when it comes to the different types of calls to action, you can have a call to action to check out a product page directly. It could be a call to action to check out a landing page with a lead magnet, so someone joins your email list. Or it could be a call to action to book a strategy call with you if you don't already have any sort of funnel or automated sequence set up and you just want people to directly book a time to jump on the phone with you. While I'm sure there's lots of other types of calls to action we could make, those are the main three that are actually going to contribute to your bottom line. Now, let's go ahead and go through those three different types of videos you should be making. And first, we need to back up a little bit and think about who we're actually targeting. So I'll link up in the cards and the description to a full-blown video on how to come up with an ideal customer avatar. But go ahead and take a look at this diagram as it represents all the different types of people that we could target and all the different types of potential customers we have for our offer in the middle. Now, when it comes to creating content, the goal is to have content move someone closer and closer to making that ultimate decision of purchasing with you or moving them along the customer journey. And the three different types of content that we've mentioned, a how-to guide, a decision guide, or a review, are strategic pieces of content we can create to move them along this line closer and closer, oh my gosh, closer and closer to making that buying decision, going from someone who's just trying to figure everything out to someone who's actively looking at different solutions where reviews are really, really helpful, even if you're a services-based business. And then finally, they turn into an active buyer when they've made the decision that they're going to purchase something in order to solve their problem. Now, when it comes to these specific types of content, the first one we have is a decision guide. And this is going to be where you're helping someone just make a decision. Should they go with product A or product B? Should they go path down number one or down path number two? Let's say, for example, we were a fitness trainer, right? So we would talk about cardio versus weight training or something to that effect based upon whatever the health goals of the person that we're talking to. As an example from one of our channels, we had a video that went through the differences and pros and cons of using analytics versus another tool called Tag Manager, and how you could essentially change the way that you decide to track website visitors on someone on your website. And while that was a really, really wordy way of saying that, long story short, we're just looking for a way to compare and contrast two different decisions or two different options and help someone make a more informed decision. Now, the second one on this list is the how-to tutorial. And these ones are going to be the ones that can take quite a while to make, but they can be the most profitable. And all it is a step-by-step guide on how to achieve a specific result. So when we go through examples of calls to action, we'll go through a video where we showed people how to create a Google Ads campaign from scratch. And it was literally just a screen capture going through all the settings that we would use for our clients. Now, it might seem a little counterintuitive, especially if you have a service, thinking, well, if I'm showing them how to do it, why would they hire me to do it? And as counterintuitive as it sounds, you will get people who will watch it and then decide, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna do this myself. I would just want to hire someone to do it for me. Or there are people out there who want to watch tutorials to determine whether or not we have the skill set that they think they actually need. So it's a great way to actually demonstrate your value and demonstrate your unique perspective on how to do something. And yes, 90 to 99% of the people who watch it are never going to book a strategy call with you, check out your product page, or join your email list. But we're not concerned about that 99%. We're concerned about the 1 to 2%. I should have said 98%. 98%. We're not concerned about the 98%. We're concerned about the 1 to 2% of people who will actually take you up on your call to action because you've demonstrated your value and you've provided value. Now, the last one works really, really well, especially if you're doing affiliate marketing or you have physical products and maybe you're an e-commerce store and you have lots of different products to offer. And this is a review. So you just weigh the pros and cons of a specific service. Now, this can get a little mucky because if you are an affiliate of whatever you're reviewing, then you pretty much have to say that up front and say, hey, by the way, I have some little bias here. So one of the ways that we've gotten around doing that is we will always make a pros video and a con video, and we do add disclaimers that we are affiliates, but it makes it really clear to our viewers that we specifically make a video that goes through all the negatives, even though we recommend it. So there are several ways you can make sure that you come across as unbiased, but you want to make sure that you clearly disclose any affiliate relation or financial relationship you have with something that you're reviewing. And of course, you make sure that you are in fact honest, because I'm sure you've watched reviews in the past where you go, yeah, this person's just saying a bunch of great things. They're not actually telling me what's wrong. So you can get a lot of views and rank a lot higher when you focus on some of the negative aspects of something, even if you think it's a good idea. And we used to do a lot of reviews. We'll get back to that eventually. So those are the 3 different types of content that you should be making. And with those 3 different types of content, we'll go through how to choose what combination to use and have when you're just getting started. It's time to appease the YouTube algorithm by finding keywords that we can connect with these different content types. Now, this is a full-blown video in and of itself because the algorithm's constantly changing, but there are a few key fundamentals when it comes to finding your keywords, discovering topics, and actually ranking that have stayed consistent over years and years of algorithm changes. So I will link up in the description to a free deep dive training that details exactly how we find keywords and how we rank videos as a small channel. We have multiple channels that we've used this strategy for very successfully, so make sure you check out that link in the description after watching this video. Now, when it comes to finding keywords, the good news is you don't need any sort of fancy tools to find the keywords that are going to allow you to rank as a small channel and get in front of your ideal customers. And it's the YouTube search box. I know it's super anticlimactic, but all you need to do is type in a really broad search, and then you're going to look for something called level 2. Now, let's go ahead and go through an example, and we'll use content marketing as a search. So we'd go over to YouTube and we would search content marketing. And then you would have all of these suggested searches, which is awesome. We'll go ahead and call this level 1. Now you're going to choose one of them, let's say content marketing strategy, and then we're going to hit space. And now we're seeing level 2. And what these keywords represent are what we're going to call long tail search phrases. And these are search phrases that you can go through and make decision guides, how-to tutorials, and reviews around because you confidently know that these are things that people are actively searching for. This search box constantly updates and changes. These suggestions change based upon what people are currently and actively searching. And after doing this method for over 3.5 years now, I can tell you that things change a lot, but the method of finding the keywords doesn't change. So the good news is your keyword strategy is pretty much locked in at this point. The other good news is there's going to be new keywords and new variations pretty much every 6 to 9 months. So we could go through this process in 9 months and find a completely different list of content marketing level 1 and level 2 keywords. And so you're pretty much never going to run out of ideas. And because because you're focused on creating one of these three types of content, you're going to start to see economies of scale, because a video that you make for content marketing strategy would be very similar to a video you make for content marketing plan, but you'd still make two separate videos because YouTube is telling us that they're two separate keywords. So again, I'll link up in the description to that free private training that takes a much deeper dive on this process and goes through more examples than you'd ever need. Now, when it comes to figuring out if a keyword is too competitive, there's no hard and fast rules because YouTube doesn't actually tell us what search volume is. There are some tools out there that claim they tell you what search volume is, but they're just making it up. It's not actually real. So the rule of thumb that we like to follow is if there are 3 videos ranked in the top 5 that have less than 100,000 subscribers, we'll go ahead and try and rank for that. And if a lot of the channels have less than 500,000 subscribers, then that's another indication that smaller channels can be successful. And we have been using this strategy across multiple channels, and even with channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers, they've been able to rank for some relatively competitive keywords using this strategy. Now, when it comes to making sure your video actually drives action, that is new leads and new sales, you need to make sure that you integrate calls to action throughout your video. So I'll link up in the cards in the description to another video that we did on how to create an outline for a YouTube video. And while I don't recommend scripting it, especially if you're going to be on camera similar to this one, you do want to make sure that you have some strategic places where you can integrate a call to action to whatever your product, service, or offer is. And as an example, we'll go through that Google Ads tutorial I mentioned earlier. So in the very beginning, similar to this video, I always make sure to reference the links in the description so people know that they should check out links in the description for other helpful resources. Along with some other helpful links and videos I'll be referencing as we go through this guide. Then, depending upon the length of the video and what the call to action for the video is, it might be anywhere from another 3 to sometimes 5 minutes before it naturally makes sense to include a call to action. Ideally, you want to call to action within the first 4 to 5 minutes of your video. In this particular instance, our first call to action comes at 7 minutes and 50 seconds, and this is all it looked like. So to save myself some time, I'm going to be using our Google Ads campaign builder here, and I am just going to grab a list of all 50 states. I'll talk more about this tool in a little bit when we start creating our ad groups, but you can go and check out a link to that in the description if you want to learn more. And as you can see from our timeline here, there were only 4 calls to action for the specific offer that we had for this video over a 29-minute period. So you do want to make sure that you're not having some sort of call to action or telling people to go check something out that's paid every 2 minutes, right? Because that's going to get annoying. It can actually detract from the value that is being provided in the video. So just as a quick run through, we won't go through all of them. Here are 2 more examples of how we integrated a call to action throughout that tutorial. Again, link in the description to our Google Ads campaign builder so you can check out the tool to really accelerate the process of setting things up for your own account. Again, link in the description if you'd like to learn more about our tool. And that's as complicated as your calls to action need to be. If you can demonstrate the value of whatever you're talking about, awesome. If it is a training or PDF and you just say, check out the link in the description to learn more on the topic, maybe that's all the call to action is, because there's not a good way to demonstrate the value of whatever you are offering. So that does it for the core of a content marketing strategy that actually drives leads and sales for YouTube. Going through one of those 3 different types of content, making sure that you use level 2 keyword search phrases as a guide for how to title and search engine optimize your videos, and then of course making sure you integrate calls to action inside of your videos and get over feeling a little salesy or pitchy, because at the end of the day, you can't keep making great content if you aren't actually making some sales. It's kind of the whole point of this process, right? So to supercharge this and actually help accelerate the process, you can actually create video ad remarketing campaigns. And so what you can do is record a simple 90-second to 2.5-minute video that specifically talks about your offer that was made in that video. And you're going to run these as in-stream ads to people who viewed pretty much any video on your channel. Now, you could get really advanced saying only show my ads to people who've seen this specific video because that's the video that had the call to action. And while you can get really good results with that, unless you already have thousands, and I mean thousands of views, it's going to be way too costly. So as counterintuitive as it may seem, just go ahead and create a video remarketing ad that goes against everyone, that runs to, not against, you're not fighting anybody, that runs to all the people who viewed a video on your channel. So I will link up in the cards and the description to a YouTube advertising guide that takes a deep dive into exactly how to set all this up, and you can even create tons of different types of remarketing lists to people who've already seen content on your channel. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you have some ideas on types of content and ways to create calls to action. So when you create a YouTube video, it actually pushes your business forward and you're not just making a piece of content for the sake of trying this whole YouTube thing. And make sure you check out that link in the description to that super deep dive free private training that goes through our entire process for growing a channel as a business, from a business perspective, making sure that every piece of content you create helps contribute to not only growing your brand, but also growing that bottom line. So hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive videos just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.